The towns of Marion, Mattapoisett, and Rochester were once one town, but in 1852, Marion became its own town. The population is about 4,900 according to the 2010 census, in about 26 square miles.
Oh, that is so sweet. Isn't it though? Oh my gosh.
Tabor Academy is one of the more well-known institutions in Marion. Founded in 1876 by Elizabeth Tabor, this independent preparatory school is known for its marine science courses. That, along with its location directly on Buzzards Bay, earned it the nickname of the School by the Sea.
I think they have summer camps at Mass Maritime too. I said?
We're entering Washburn Park.
What kind of park? What kind of trees?
We can go on the swings.
Ellen, do you want to swing? Yes.
I would.
Charles R. Washburn. It's pretty.
It's very pretty. Look, there's restrooms.
Washburn Field in memory of Charles R. Washburn.
Scoutmaster, 1920 to 1949. Welcome to Charles R. Washburn Memorial Park. Cool. Arney Arena, in memory of Dr. James A. Arney, 1957. Cool. Okay then. Well, this is a very pretty park. Yeah, it is. Oh, cute dresses. Serendipity, I love it. Island Wharf. I could live on this street. I'm gonna put this in the cooler. Hi everybody, we are here in Marion with Jack at the Marion General Store.
Jack told us that he has owned the store since 1972. His daughter, Whitney Cheney Wynn, helps him keep things running. Last year, a major renovation was undertaken with the help of the Sipican Historical Society. Jack is very proud of the store's fresh meats and local products, notably Great Hill Dairy cheese. Directly across from the general store, we found the Sippacan Historical Society office and met with Judy Rosby, who is currently the treasurer.
Hi everybody, we're still here in Marion, beautiful town, and we are here with Judy Rosby at the Historical Society, and Judy is going to tell us a little bit about the history of this town because it's wonderful.
Yes, Marion is one of the oldest towns in the United States. As you know, the Pilgrims landed in Plymouth in 1620, and by 1678 they had come over to Marion to pasture their cattle, and noticed that our harbor was filled with oysters and little neck clams. And I don't know if you know that little neck clams are named for a little neck section in Marion, which is the head of the harbor.
I know.
So they thought, well, this is a wonderful place to live. We have free food, and so they settled here in Little Neck. And not only did they pasture their cattle, but they started moving down from Old Landing, then down to Marion Village, which is where we are right now. And some of the architecture that we have in town is some of the oldest in the United States, early 17th century, where they started with capes, and then as the sea captains became wealthier and wealthier, they had more federal and other styles of houses. But we're also famous in that Henry Hobson Richardson, who's one of the most famous of architects, he's mainly known for Copley, Trinity Church in Copley Square and everything, but
Yes.
the smallest house he ever built is in Marion. It's currently owned by Tabor Academy, but he had a bet with a local preacher, and the preacher said, I bet you can't build a house for me for $2,500, which back then was expensive.
Sure.
But still a little bit below his price point. So he built it, and it is a fabulous house, and many of the architecture students come down from Harvard and other architecture schools
Really?
to look at it.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So here it is in Marion.
Awesome. Awesome. And you were mentioning Grover Cleveland.
Yes. We had a man who came to Marion named Richard Watson Gilder, who was the editor of Century Magazine, which was a very famous magazine. And back then, we had no TV or radio, so people got their news from Century Magazine. And he happened to be giving a lecture at Wells College where Mrs. Cleveland was a graduate, and they both rode the train back to Washington, and she said, I'd like to introduce you to my husband, Grover Cleveland. And as you know, Grover Cleveland was the only president who served 2 terms that were non-consecutive.
Right.
So in between the 2 terms, he lived in Marion, and his question to Richard Watson Gilder was, is there good fishing in Marion? And he said yes. So he came here and fished every day
Wow.
in his 3-piece suit,
Oh
with
my
his
gosh.
leather shoes,
Yes.
with his hat.
Wow.
And the local fishermen were not too happy because he would give his fish away. And therefore, the local fishermen tried to make a living by selling their fish, and with Grover Cleveland giving his away. But they came here for 4 summers and
Wow.
loved Marion and named one of their daughters Marion after Marion.
Did they really?
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
that's interesting to know. Oh my gosh. Cool. Okay.
So Marion has another, we're very, we have a lot of sea captains who did whaling and everything, but we also had a very thriving salt industry here. When Great Britain put a tax on salt, they decided, well, we're not going to pay that. So they had a genius kind of built up section of hollowed out logs where they would put seawater in them, and then by solar evaporation the salt would be left at the bottom. They would take this salt down the coast to North and South Carolina and sell it there, or exchange it for wood to come up and build ships.
Oh my gosh.
And when the 3 towns of Marion, Mattapoisett, and Rochester broke away, they decided, well, the former name of this area, Sippacan, is named for the Native American Indians, is too difficult to yell across the water. So they actually named Marion after Francis Marion. He's also called the Swamp Fox, but he was a revolutionary hero during the Revolutionary War.
Wow.
The British would stand in their little red outfits and move, in lockstep and the guerrilla warfare under Francis Marion would hide in the trees, melt down pewter plates and forks and everything to bullets, and they beat them by using guerrilla warfare techniques.
Oh my gosh.
So that's how our town was named.
Wow.
And our Civic and Historical Society is very active in preservation, and we've just visited the general store,
Amazing.
which we preserved. And we
Yes.
preserved the post office, we
Okay.
redid that, another
Nice.
Captain Hadley House, which is across from Cumberland Farms as you come into town. It's that beautiful yellow building, and also what we call the former Brown's Pharmacy, which is now Kate's Restaurant.
Oh, okay.
So we bought that and preserved it. So our
Nice.
mission is to really try to preserve this town as a historic New England maritime village. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, everybody. We're here with Debbie Gunshaw,
Yep.
and we are at the.
Ansel Gurney House.
Very good. Can you tell us a little bit about the Ansel Gurney House?
Oh, well, the Ansel Gurney House started back in 1976. My mother-in-law decided she wanted to start a little gift shop, so it was downstairs, and then eventually it went upstairs and they had to move out. So to back up a little bit, the house itself was built in the oldest part is the mid-1700s. Ansel Gurney used to live here in the mid and around in the 1800s. So his and they used to call it the Gurney Farm, was what it was referred to as. And he sold it to his daughter. He passed away in the house in 1900.
Okay.
And some people still say he's around.
He's here.
I have no
Sure.
idea, but it's very friendly anyway.
That's nice.
Then his granddaughter bought it. So she lived here. I believe it was his daughter or granddaughter. It was named Delano. And then in the mid-30s, my husband's grandparents bought it.
Oh.
So it's been in the family since then.
Wow.
And my husband grew up in the house.
Okay.
And he's been here forever. And so sadly, Peg, his mother, passed away in 1984. We came in 1983, and here I am.
And we're going to have lunch
Oh,
too
yay.
here. So
Good.
tell us a little bit about the restaurant. When did that all come in?
Well, that came in. I'm a little fuzzy on exactly when it was, but my father-in-law used to love to cook, and
Nice.
so he started the restaurant very tiny, and then it got a little bigger because he had another business here. He had a
Okay.
frozen food business out of here and stuff, and my brother-in-law had a bakery at one point, and it's been a very productive place.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah.
Nice.
So all the family's been involved at one time or another. So
Very
it's been
cool.
good. And so the restaurant just kind of grew a bit. We just do lunch, but everything is made here. We get bread from local bakeries. We have everything is homemade, and
Awesome.
so it's good.
Awesome.
Everything's from scratch, which is nice.
Yes.
Chop everything up. So,
That's a nice thing.
yeah, it is
That's
nice.
a nice
Yeah,
thing.
it's a good
Awesome.
thing.
Well,
Yeah.
we can't wait to try it
Oh,
for
good.
sure.
Good.
For
I'm
sure.
glad. I hope you enjoy
So,
it.
I'm
Yeah.
sure that we will.
Good.
Thank you for
Thank
taking
you.
the time with us.
Sure.
I appreciate
sure.
it.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice of you to come by. All right.
Absolutely.
Good.
After getting a look at the Moon Gate on Water Street, we were off to the Beverly Yacht Club. We were very excited to have been invited aboard the club's committee boat to join in the fun on a race night. Paul Hyde explained how the races work.
And racing's all about taking the best advantage of the wind and strategy and timing. A big part of it is being on the starting line as close to the starting line as possible when the horn starts, and then sailing fast, sailing in the right direction, taking advantage when the wind shifts a little bit, things like that.
That's gotta be tricky.
And there's a lot of different things going on at once. Yeah. And I'll as I see stuff, I'll try to point it out to you as I remember.
Great.
And then we use these flags here as signal flags to tell them what they're doing. So we have an automatic timing system here that does a 5-minute countdown with a series of horns.
Yep.
And so when we start it, the horn goes off, and there's a flag here that would go up. So these are the class flags.
Okay.
And whatever class flag goes up, that tells the class it's their turn to start. And then
Okay.
a minute later, we have a prep flag that goes up.
Okay.
And then 3 minutes after the prep flag goes up, it comes back down. That tells the class they got 1 minute to start. and then the class flag drops, and that
And
tells them
that's-
it's okay for them to cross the line.
Wow.
And so we'll go through that process, 3 or 4 times anyway.
Okay.
throughout. The instruments are telling me that the wind is coming at us from about 220 degrees. If you do the math, that means the bearing to that mark over there should be about 100 and calculate 130. And this would be the line between, they start between here and that yellow mark there.
Okay.
150 feet plus half again, so 225 feet would be the perfect length of the line. And the GPS here will tell me how far away I am. Pretty accurate.
So the orange flag means we're anchoring
Yep, we're on station.
on station.
Yep.
Yellow, you know what I'm saying? So that would mean that the W gets a green placard. So that tells them that they have to leave the mark on their right side when they go around the mark. So W represents a mark that's upwind of us, which is a portable mark. And P represents this orange mark over here, which is the finish line. So basically they were telling them they have to go up the W and then back to P. And that'll be a short race for their first race, and then we might give them extra laps by adding letters or changing letters.
And this is the smaller boats?
These are the bigger boats. These
The
are
bigger
these are
boats.
the bigger boats, the training.
Oh, so
the
these guys.
J24s, yes.
Okay.
So we're going to start them. That'll give the smaller boats time to get out here, and then we'll start the smaller ones next. And they'll all be racing at the same time. They just start at different times.
Oh, okay.
Commodores, this is Boomerang, over.
So this is our high-tech lettering system we got going on here.
Okay.
We ran out of letters.
Oh, so yeah.
So we're making
Duct
letters.
tape.
Love it.
Oh,
Okay.
somebody's got it, because I won't.
Apparently he won't either.
We're already thinking about it. See, you got-
The fourth will be at port.
I have to do a little artistic in here, make it look more.
We've got 4 minutes to this.
That'll work. BYC J24s, BYC J24s, this is Commodore Channel 72,
So they have all radios on board and they're
They
listening
should
to
be
you.
listening with radios on board, yes. They're supposed to have them. They don't always have them, they don't always listen, but that's part of the plan.
Right.
As a race committee, generally, there isn't as much communication. We rely solely on the flags, the signage, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
The radio communications is more of a courtesy. We couldn't afford to buy a vowel. Sorry. All right, 477. You want a couple? I'm gonna get 2 just in case. This one misses.
45 seconds to start.
Ooh.
Incoming.
Oh!
Coming in.
You're throwing things at people. Look at this.
All right, so we're coming up on 30
This is
seconds. to the
crazy.
J24 warning. So this will be our first horn, which is kind of loud, just to remind everybody. That's 20 seconds to hoist the J24 flag. Ten seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so they started.
No, that's just a 5-minute warning.
Oh, that's a 5-minute
J24
warning.
flag went up. So now, in a little
Oh.
under a minute, the prep flag is going to go up. That's going to tell me they have 4 minutes to go.
Oh,
3 minutes after that, the prep come down. That tells me they have 1 minute to go.
okay,
And then when the class flag drops, that tells them it's okay to cross the line.
okay.
So now we're coming up on 20 seconds to hoist the prep.
And there's a horn with that.
There's a horn with that. Yeah, it's all run on this automatic timer that we have.
So the yellow marker is the start line.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the wind. Right now, the wind's at 215, and the wind oscillates back and forth a little bit. So sometimes it might be 210 degrees, it might be 220, maybe 230. So the goal is to try to pick a course that's somewhere in the middle of those oscillations. But what happens, that means as the wind shifts back and forth, maybe the left end of the line is a little closer, or maybe the right end of the line is a little closer. So part of their decision making right now is trying to decide which end of the line is going to be favored when the gun goes off.
Okay.
So when I say gun, I mean horn.
So closer to the boat or closer to the marker.
Right.
Okay.
So you'll see it might all be at this end, it might be at the other end. It just depends on. 3, 2, 1. That means 1 minute to go.
Oh, okay.
Okay, good.
And then these flags on this side are the boost flags. So if somebody goes over early, this flag would get hoisted.
Oh,
Tell them that they're over early, and then we have to tell them on the radio also.
okay.
So they disqualified from the race
No, they
then?
just have to come back and start again. So the flag will go
Oh.
up, and it stays up until as soon as them have cleared. When
Oh,
we see them clear, we drop the flag. That's how they know they can start.
okay.
So that's 30 seconds to drop the class. And this flag is, if everybody messes up, that we have to tell them all to come back and start again.
Oh,
That's 20 seconds. 3, 2, 1, drop. So,
and they're off. Woo!
BYCH 12, BYCH 12, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, on. You can start in seconds. Time to figure it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
See, they're lining up to go. They're getting ready to go to the start line. Whoa.
10 seconds.
10 seconds.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh. And there they go. See, there they go.
I mean, they basically took up that entire line. Square. Alright, and they're out of the way of the
There is an age 24. What do I know?
So in this fleet, everybody wins because they gain experience. It's 30 seconds.
Okay, so they're going around this mark, Deb, see?
Oh, yep. You should have had the word not towards the sun.
Yeah, I know.
to stretch out his lead a little bit here.
sun in your eyes.
You're
Yeah,
going to
they've-
around mark for the second time.
Yeah, they've separated out a lot more.
Okay, what are you thinking about a third race?
Go Happy!
They have the Oscar nest there. They have I think it's a pair of donkeys. They live on the island. You see them out on the far side grazing every now and then.
Really?
Oh, this is